Bombshell Gooners! Bruno Guimaraes has personally told Newcastle he wants to join Arsenal, and the details behind that revelation are even more extraordinary than the headline itself. Meanwhile, Arsenal have been linked with a winger described as one of the best players of his generation, and at £51 million, this one could be the smartest attacking addition of the entire window. And Manchester United have just entered the race for one of Arsenal's midfield targets. And with the Guimaraes deal moving slowly, Berta may need to make a decision on the alternative much sooner than anyone expected. If you want every detail on these explosive stories as this window hits its most dramatic and decisive phase yet, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and let's get straight into it. Let's jump straight into the first story because Ben Jacobs has just appeared on TalkSport with an update on Bruno Guimaraes that has genuinely stopped the entire football world in its tracks. And every single detail of what he revealed is more significant than the last. Jacobs was measured but completely clear about the situation. I don't think we're in Alexander Isak territory here where the player is going to refuse to return or be part of pre-season. It's far more respectful because Guimaraes has an excellent relationship with Newcastle United as a football club and a fan base, but he has respectfully told the club he would like the move. My understanding is broad terms with Arsenal are already in place. Now, Newcastle United's stance is not for sale, and they deny any direct formal contact. Let us take each of those revelations in turn, and because collectively they paint a picture of a transfer that is simultaneously closer than it has ever been and more complicated than it might first appear. First, Guimaraes has personally told Newcastle he wants to leave for Arsenal, without Arsenal having even made a formal offer. That is a player whose desire to make this move is so strong that he has been willing to have an uncomfortable conversation with the club and fan base he clearly loves, before the buying club has even committed on paper. That level of personal initiative from a player of his status is extraordinary. His agents, including Kia Joorabchian, are all actively working to make this move happen. Second, broad personal terms with Arsenal are already understood to be in place. That means the player, his representatives and the Gunners have already had substantive conversations about wages, contract length and personal conditions. The deal between Guimaraes and Arsenal is essentially agreed. The only remaining obstacle is Newcastle. Third, and this is the complication, Guimaraes will not go on strike. He will not pull an Alexander Isak and refuse to return for pre-season, forcing Newcastle's hand through confrontation. He wants to maintain the goodwill of a club and fan base he has genuine affection for. And that respectful approach, while entirely admirable on a human level, significantly reduces the pressure on Newcastle to sell. Without a player forcing the issue, a club under no financial pressure can simply dig in and refuse indefinitely. Newcastle have already banked £100 million from Tonali's sale to Tottenham and £69 million from Gordon's departure to Barcelona. They are in no position where selling Guimaraes is necessary for financial reasons. Arsenal must make a formal offer that Newcastle find impossible to reject. And given that Lee Ryder suggested £65 million could be the tipping point, that official bid needs to arrive immediately. The personal terms are done. The player wants to come. Berta just needs to make it official. So Gooners, do you think Arsenal can get the Guimaraes deal done before the window closes? Or will Newcastle's refusal to engage and the player's respectful approach mean this one drags on all summer? Drop your prediction right now. Now let's talk about a name that has just entered Arsenal's attacking radar at the perfect moment, because according to Team Talk, the Gunners are among the clubs monitoring RB Leipzig winger Antonio Nusa, and the description attached to this player by those who have watched him most closely is one that demands immediate attention. Nusa has been described as one of the best players of his generation, a phrase that gets used too loosely in football but carries genuine weight when you understand the profile and the trajectory behind it. The Norwegian international has been one of Leipzig's most dynamic attacking options, and his World Cup performances this summer have accelerated interest from across the Premier League, with Arsenal and 4 other top-flight clubs all believed to be monitoring his situation closely. Leipzig value Nusa at around £51 million, a figure that reflects both his quality and the security of a contract running until 2029. The German club are under no immediate financial pressure to sell, but in a summer where clubs have been spending recklessly on players at similar ages and profiles, a genuinely motivated buyer with real financial firepower could absolutely move the needle. Arsenal represent exactly that combination right now. The timing of this link is also critically important when you look at Arsenal's specific situation on the left wing. Leandro Trossard has already agreed personal terms with Besiktas, that departure is effectively confirmed and the left side needs reinforcing urgently. Gabriel Martinelli remains available but has never fully convinced Arteta as the long-term answer in that position. Morgan Rogers is the primary target, but Villa's £130 million demand continues to create a standoff. Barcola's World Cup performances with France are pushing his price even higher. In that landscape, Nusa at £51 million, younger, exciting, generating genuine buzz at the tournament, represents a very different kind of value proposition. The Premier League is understood to be Nusa's most likely destination this summer, which gives Arsenal a natural advantage over continental rivals. At a club where young attackers have consistently developed to their absolute ceiling under Arteta's coaching, look at what he has done with Saka, with Eze, with Lewis Skelly. The Emirates project is one of the most compelling arguments any club could present to a player of Nusa's profile and ambition. So Gooners, at £51 million, is Antonio Nusa a name you want Arsenal to pursue seriously this summer, or do you think Berta should stay focused on Rodgers and Barcola above all else? Tell me your honest take. Now let's round things off with a midfield story that is becoming increasingly urgent, because according to Team Talk, Manchester United have just added Manu Koné to their transfer shortlist. And with the Guimaraes pursuit moving at a respectful rather than explosive pace, Arsenal may need to make a decision on their backup midfield target much sooner than they originally planned. The background on Koné is important here. Arsenal had distanced themselves from the 25-year-old Roma midfielder earlier in the summer. Fabrizio Romano reported that the club had played down links and he was not seen as a primary target. But the World Cup has a habit of changing everything. Koné played 90 minutes in France's round of 16 victory over Paraguay and is expected to start Thursday's quarter-final against Monaco, with William Saliba on his side and Ayoub Boadi on the other. Patrick Vieira, whose opinion on central midfielders carries more weight than almost anyone in football, has described Koné as France's best midfielder. That is an endorsement that cannot be casually dismissed. Roma are willing to sell for around £50 million, and the player is understood to be keen on a Premier League move. That combination, seller willing, player keen, price established, is exactly the kind of clean transfer situation that Berta can execute quickly when he chooses to, and United's entry into the race is the factor that could force Arsenal's hand on the timeline. The market context also makes Koné's £50 million fee look increasingly reasonable with every passing week. United have agreed £50 million for André Santos, a Chelsea midfielder who did not even make Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil World Cup squad. Newcastle will use that kind of reckless benchmark spending to drive Guimaraes' price even further above £65 million. In that environment, Koné at £50 million for an established French international with 37 Roma appearances last season and genuine World Cup pedigree represents outstanding relative value. There is also a fascinating subplot developing on Thursday night. Koné and Boadi go head-to-head in the World Cup quarter-final between France and Morocco, two players Arsenal have been closely tracking all summer, competing on the biggest stage available. Whoever performs best could genuinely alter Berta's thinking about which direction to go in the midfield market. Both players impressing would be an extraordinary problem to have. One outshining the other gives Arsenal a clearer signal. Either way, the decision cannot wait much longer, not with United moving, not with the window ticking, and not with Guimaraes still officially unavailable. So Gooners, if the Guimaraes deal cannot be done, do you want Arsenal to move for Manu Koné at £50 million? Or is Boadi after the World Cup the smarter long-term investment? Drop everything in the comments. I want to hear every single opinion. Alright Gooners, smash that subscribe button right now if you are not already part of this family. Every Arsenal transfer update, every World Cup connection, every bombshell story, you will not miss a single second of it. Completely free. And tell me immediately, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city and your country in the comments right now. I sit here and read through every single location every single week, and the size of this Arsenal family across the globe is something that never stops blowing my mind.